Hello? Hello? Yes, looks like it's working now. Hello, guys. So can you hear me now? Okay, yeah, just post in the question sections that you can hear me now. It looks like it's working. The technical difficulty is seriously from both the computers. Okay, yeah, so just post it in the comments and post it in the QA section here. That's working. I'll try to end the session in the next 45 minutes to respect your time. Extremely sorry from my side about the technical difficulties. Okay, yeah, just post in the question section here that you are able to hear my voice, or post in the Google Events page that you are able to hear me. Okay, guys, do it quickly, please. So let's figure out here. This looks like it's working. Okay, can you guys confirm? You guys confirm now that you are able to hear voice. Let's do it. Okay, guys, yeah, I just posted a question in our events page asking you guys to confirm that you are able to hear my voice. Okay, can you just reply to that, please? Hello? Yes, can you please reply there, please? We have lots to cover for the session, so I really want to do it quickly. Okay, can you reply, please? Okay, can you guys hear me now? Can you guys confirm that you can hear now? Okay, so guys, when you're seeing this video, on your right, there should be a Q&A plugin, and you can actually post your questions there, and you can confirm that you can hear my voice. So I want a confirmation from you before I start the session. Okay, can you guys confirm quickly, please? Okay. Loud and clear. Awesome. Thank you so much. This is just awesome. Okay, so now Okay, hi. So I'm back here. Sorry, there was some issue again. Looks like there is a WebRTC issue on the browser side. So finally, I had to install Google Hangouts on my computer, and then it was able to connect. So probably I should just check with some of my classmates there who are working at Google. I should just write this bug to them. So great. So now I'm going to cover the details of our audience, and then I'm going to cover the questions from them. And feel free to post your questions here in the Q&A. Yes, that's great. Okay, so yes. For this session, I received close to 85 unique registrations. That's one. So a lot of people. So having said that, I can see there are close to 16 viewers now, and that's great. So that's one. Okay, so what happened? There's an error while loading your app. What are you doing, Google? Come on. Oof. So Google has a lot of difficulties today. So Google, I love your company. What's happening with you today? Okay, so out of this session, I have a report that out of these registrations, close to 3/4 of the people are working. So that's great. Out of the total registrations, expect like close to 50-60 of them, they're working. In terms of number of work experience, that's okay. So it's like an even distribution here. So around 30% of our registrations came from people who are less than 1 year of experience. And next, 30% came from people who have between 1 to 3 years of work experience. And the rest have more than three years of experience. Okay, let's talk about the location. That's where they came from. So I can see a lot of people from, so first of all, majority of the crowd is from India. Having said that, I have received a global participation. So a lot of people from Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, somebody is from Boston, then back in India, Pune, Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai. In US, I can see Cambridge, Chicago, then, oh, okay, some people are from Ranchi, that's my hometown. Then, oh, there's somebody from Kuwait, somebody from Italy, then Boston again, then Gujarat. Oh, there's someone from Tokyo, Japan. And then there are a few folks from US, like San Diego. There's one from Washington. Yes, that's the different, okay. And then one from Kolkata, West Bengal as well. Okay, so this is the participation that we have received in terms of the job profile. So in terms of your job title, so there are people who are like students, business analysts, managers, team lead, product managers, entrepreneurs, software engineers, business development folks, co-founders, then data analyst guys, then mechanical engineers. What else I can see? Solution architects, tech leads, equity research analyst. So that's great. We have a huge diversity here. Okay. So now in terms of the companies, can't really disclose that, but from Amazon, Accenture, Oyo Rooms, Reliance, IBM, then Goldman Sachs, TCS, Oracle, Capgemini, KPMG, then Infosys, Make My Trip, and there are many other companies as well. So that's great. In terms of the topics that you are interested in, so most of you, so around 84% of you, they're interested in this topic called admissions to B-School in the United States. That's one. The next best topic is product management and product growth. And the next best is entrepreneurship, starting and scaling up products and services. And the next is outlook of employers in the US, and then culture at MIT, and then some other section as well. So that's great. Okay. Now I've received close to, I think, 33 questions. That's a lot. So thanks a lot for posting that. So this is just great. So what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to answer these questions based on your preference, which is starting from admission to the business school, then I'll move to product management, then entrepreneurship, and then employment in the US, and finally to the culture. So in meantime, what you can do is you should post your questions in the Q&A section here so that I can answer those questions as well. I'm just quickly checking that in our events page, you guys have not posted questions. So let me confirm that, so that if there are more questions, I'll be happy to answer them as well. So got back, video freezed. I'm not getting any stream for you now. Okay, guys, so I'm just going to post it here, guys. The stream is working now. Stream is working now, and now I'm answering your questions, answering questions posted by you. Posted by you. Okay, so that's great. Okay, so this is just great. It's Q&A. Oh, no. Okay. So cool. Okay, this is just great. So let's start. So guys, feel free to write your questions. So let's start with the questions now. So we have close to 25 minutes or 30 minutes of time, so I'll make it very, very quick. So one is, let's start with the topics. Okay, so how can we prepare ourselves for getting a perfect start during business school? I would say, like, once you get an admission to the business school, and I think the best is having the goals early in the mind, so that once you are at the business school, you clearly know how do you want to leverage the resources. So I can especially tell from MIT point of view. So MIT gives, so virtually they give you an infinite resources in front of you to help you in the goals that you want to reach. So I believe that's the same for some of the best business schools in the world as well. So if you have an idea, a clear idea, or at least an idea in terms of the industry or the functions that you want to figure out post your business school, it's good to start early, and then you can leverage very relevant resources there, either your classmates or the faculties or the alums or the sessions or the entrepreneurs or the executives who are like coming on campus. So you can actually tailor your program according to that. So that's good. Having said that, there is no right or wrong answer. You can always explore more once you're at the business school. I was of the case that I completely changed my track when I was at the school. So I think like towards the end of my second semester, which was towards the end of the first year, that's when I was able to figure out what I truly wanted to do. So that's one. Okay, so now let's go to the business school question. Who should go for business school and why? That's a really, really good question. I would say what happens that when most of the people, working professionals in India, they have limited resources when they want to like do something, and especially they're limited in terms of their like global resources or the global connections, or even the global skill set or the mindset. So I would say who should go for a business school? Okay, so if you have a goal in mind and if your impact is restricted or limited, and you want to first of all gain access to really good experienced resources and diverse resources to learn from them, that's one. You want to like develop some skill sets across different industries. It could be like finance, it could be education, it could be sports, it could be media, it could be tech, or it could be like healthcare or like different industries. I think that's where you could see that you could go to a business school where you could go through, I would say, an accelerated business program where you could be able to like achieve things in few years rather than like spending 5 to 10 years if you don't go to a business school. So having said that, when you shouldn't go to a business school, first of all, one, which is you have a common sense. And I would say like, first of all, like you are a voracious reader, you are like a learning animal. So look, I mean, at the end, most of the things that's being learned in the business school, it's common sense. So if you have that, and if you like learn pretty quickly, if you can like leverage resources like in front of you, and then you have like a clear goal in mind, and then you actually able to iterate from your like mistakes learnings pretty quickly. So I would say, I think in that sense, and plus if you can like develop your skills quickly as well, in that sense, I don't think like going to a business school with a huge financial investment in mind is a great decision. So what happens is business school just accelerates what we're trying to do. If you can do that without a business school, sure, you shouldn't go to a business school. But if you can't, that's something you should consider going to a business school. Another thing is, especially I talked to a lot of people in the US. So what happens that in US tech products, especially like tech is quite one of the most valuable industries. So for this specific case, if you have gone through a computer science program, you're already like coding, you're already building products, and then you're already learning from the people, in the relevant industries. Then I don't think it's a great decision to go to a business school. You can actually learn on the job itself. But looking into an Indian person, Indian working professional, who is always restricted by the resources, by the skill sets, by the impact that he could make, I think in that's where it just makes a good decision to go to a business school. So that's it. Cost-effective MBA solution. I don't know. So it depends here for this question. So look, for an Indian business school, what happens that most people, and I might be wrong, but most people who make their decision, it's always based on ROI sense, which is, hey, I'm investing this much in a business school, and this is the salary that I would at the end I would get out of this business school. I think it's a good idea to think on those lines, but not the best idea. So what happens that, especially if you're thinking of a business school in the US, which is one of the best educational programs in the world, it's the ROI is not in terms of the direct job that comes out of business school, but your life experience, the quality of the life, the smart people that you meet with, the skill sets that you quickly develop, and a quick impact that you could make to the world. So I think that's where a great business school comes. And then for that, the clear thing is you have to pay the price. So I don't have any regrets for my 2 years at MIT. It was expensive. It was one of the most expensive business schools in the world. But I don't think in terms of a short-term ROI, in terms of a job or a salary. For me, it's a meaningful thing that I could do over time, and then what my next generation could do. And in that sense, I always get an answer yes. So that's where you'll like to figure out. And I think there's an analogy that if you want to become a manager, go to an Indian business school. If you want to become a world leader, go to a business school in the US, or there's some schools in Europe as well. Europe, UK. So I answered this question. Okay, I can see people have started posting their questions. So keep posting your questions on the right. So I'm going to take it once I finish these questions. Okay. So let's move to the next question. Reconciling the utility. Okay, what skill sets do you specifically build in a business school, and the opportunity cost worth it? The worth being measured in long term, life, quality, peer group perspective. Yes. The answer is yes. So it all depends. So business school is a place where you have resources in place. So if you know how do you want to extract those resources, you'll always find it valuable. If you don't know, then you'll just like go to like some classes. You'll like do number of academic programs, but at the end it doesn't really help. Not even the industry professionals like look into that. So one quick thing that I want to like tell you is MIT has a great non-disclosure policy. So we never shared our grades in the industry, and neither the industry asked us. So it was always like we want to learn, and here we are going through a very rigorous, intense, creative program. So that was always the thing that we chased, and I can speak on behalf of my classmates as well. So yes, in terms of the life, quality, and peer perspective, you'll meet some amazing people. And what I mean to say that there'll be people with, say, at least 3 to 5 years of experience across different industry functions. It could be marketing, operations, it could be finance, it could be tech, it could be entrepreneurship or whatever, and across different industries. So education, sports, media, tech, and there's so many. So entertainment is like, is another one of them. So you actually like learn from them. So that's great. Like if you're going in the wrong direction, they actually correct you. So MIT has a pretty like good culture of like collaboration and not the competition. So cool. How to secure funding and scholarship? So most of the good business schools have a bank called Federal Credit Union. So Harvard has that, Stanford has that, MIT has it. I'm not sure if the other business schools have it. So I think the worry is to get an admission. Post that, I mean, they just like send you a letter to actually get the funding from the school bank. So I did the same thing. So yes, I mean, if you're going to say kind of a little lower ranked schools, that's where I think they want you to have the loans from like Indian banks. So do check it. Okay, so let's figure out more questions. How is failed? Some sample. Okay, then I can see a question here for a business school. Yes, I would really like to know, do all the top or the best business schools, especially in US, except MIT, entertain or welcome compelling stories from personal and professional life in the essays and application? The answer is yes. So your academic scores or your work experience, it just leads to some of the data points out of several data points that goes into your application. So at the end, I mean, your story, that really matters. And mostly like like the background that you are coming from, why you chase certain things, how you chase certain things, what did you learn, the mistakes you did, and the impact that you made. And are you among the top of the peers that you are actually like, you know, the kind of demographics that you're applying to? I think that the answer is yes to most of the questions. It's a great chance to actually get an interview call from them. I've heard that some top business schools do not pay much importance to story part in essays, and they're more data driven. Okay, so they look upon data only in the applications. I'm not sure. I don't have this information. So what happens with all of these information, they feed through a quantitative data, which is, okay, which demographics, what kind of work experience, what's your academic GPA, what's your GMAT score. These are all quantitative data points. But then on top of that, when you build your stories, those are qualitative data points. So which is, and that's where a human being, which is an admission officer, like comes, he reads the story and then he makes a holistic view of your story and of your profile. That's where they make a decision on the interview, and post that, obviously, your interview experience also. Your interview experience is mostly your like qualitative aspect. So happens. So yes, I really want to know about this approach in applications of top or best business schools. So I hope I answered this question. Let's go to the next one. Some sample ideas on how we build startup. I'm going to take it later. Okay, so this is again question admission to the business school. Do applicants from overrepresented group, Indian, Chinese, etc., have to score 20, 30 points higher on the GMAT to get an interview invite from MIT or top 10 schools? For the other schools, I don't know. I applied to Stanford, I didn't get in. From MIT, I would say for them, diversity really matters. So which is like building a class of 400 people who are have a decent experience and who have tried to do certain things and who have either succeeded or failed, but they're hungry to do it again. And then once they learn from MIT and say post their MIT experience, they also have an obligation or a responsibility to do something for their nation. So that's how like MIT typically thinks like it. What happens for MIT, GMAT is just one of the data points. So I share a pretty good friendship with the head of the admissions at Sloan. And what he told me was the dean has never asked him to actually look into GMAT as one of the main criterias. GMAT, he's like, as long as I'm building a great class and a well-diverse, humble class who are like very hungry to learn and deliver, that's something he really cares the most. So just to let you know, so for the class that I was admitted in, I had the lowest GMAT score from the Indian segment. So I would say the more you score, the merrier. That's better. But I wouldn't really worry if you have a low GMAT score. But I would just say 700 or 700 plus. It gives a sense that in the classes you'll be verbally strong, you'll be mathematically strong, you'll make a reasoning, and you'll learn quickly. That's what just GMAT does. GMAT, in my opinion, GMAT doesn't tell you your skills about your problem solving skills or your managerial skills. So those are all where the experiences come. So I mean, see, at the end, they also don't want you to skip class, and don't want you to like not to do well in the classes. So that's where GMAT actually comes, but it doesn't tell you how you're going to do well managerially. And I think they know that as well. So cool, I've answered that. How strong should be the profile? Profile B2B accepted in the top business school. What activities can I take up now to build my profile? So first of all, there is no one profile that actually makes it. So I get this question time and again from people. So I would say create your own story. Like everyone in the world is unique. The way you're born, like your siblings, your friends, your background, the experiences that you saw, it all like shapes you. And you're like, your parents like shape you. So it's like you say 20, 25 years of your story. That's never the same for different people. So I would say your story and your dreams matters the most, and create a path. And the way you do it is you are extremely learner focused. So you just chase learning really badly. You are open to failures. You are open to success. You learn from that and you do that again. So you're extremely resilient in the discussion, resilient in your decisions. And then you do it over time. You are very persistent. So if you do that irrespective of the field or irrespective of the work that you do, that's really meaningful. And at the end, what happens that you create a beautiful service or a product, or you help different people do that. And at the end, like people's lives get better. So what activities? I'm not sure about this, but maybe also I would say have a personal angle, more to a professional angle as well. So about my story, so frankly, I was professionally doing okay before applying to MIT, but personally, I was not. I mean, I didn't have a lot of hobbies, or I was not a national player. I was not a singer, or the way you can like differentiate your profile. So I think MIT like gave me chance. They put my bets on me, but some schools don't. So I would say the best is also have a personal story. So what I do like these days is I figured out over time. So now actually I sing Hindustani classical, semi-classical songs. I really like that. So that's like my personal angle. So that's one of them. And then, so what do you do when you don't do work, right? So I would say like a lot of Indian people say about an NGO experience or nonprofit. I would say that doesn't really matter. Like it matters what do you do when you're not at work. And it could be something which is it could be something that could be meaningful to the community. And either like, the sports, if you're doing sports and like, inspiring the community to actually become sports player, that's one of them. If you're like singing and you feel like, inspiring and kind of encouraging musicians and artists to actually kind of, speak up to their mind and actually share their thoughts. That's also like one of the community service that you're actually doing. If you're like directly involved with some of the nonprofit organizations, that's also great. So there is no one answer to that. I think as long as there is a kind of thought process from you to think about the community and do something for it, I think that's really good. So, okay, don't worry much about that. Okay, so let's figure out more. Okay, so I hope I don't run out of time. So, strong. Okay, how strong? Okay, how does an ideal profile for MIT admission look like? The answer is no. There is no ideal profile. Guys, this session will go for another half an hour, I believe, if you guys are okay. So I'm sorry I'm extending this. There are a lot of questions that I have to answer. So in case if somebody has a time commitment, want to like leave early, I fully respect that. Okay, so let's do more. So how does this? How rigorous is the Sloan MBA vis-a-vis other MBAs? It's pretty rigorous. It's very hard training that you go through. So I would say I was working 70, 80 hours every week. So I wanted to extract maximum from the program. If you just want to chill, you can always chill. You'll have a lot of parties, you'll have a lot of events, you'll have a lot of travel to do, and you can always chill. But the point is, if you want to extract most, I think that's the place. So I'll explain it this way as well. So MIT has a philosophy that's called mens and manus. So mens is your mind and manus is your hand. So mens is, which is get everything to be intellectual to learn whatever topic that you're interested in. So get all the knowledge in the world for that. So that's like a case-based study, which different schools do. But more than that, what MIT says, okay, so these are the things that have worked in the past. But then if you have learned this, you have to try it, with your hand. So which is go and do it, even if it's a dirty work, succeed, fail, and only when you see it working, then believe that it's working. So that's where like they always try to push things. And so it's very hands-on. So what happens that, so for me, my experience was 20, so my overall experience was 20% that came from my classes and 80% outside my classes. So in the classes, so there would be a lot of like industry projects that you would actually do. So like typically what would happen, half of the time you would learn practical concepts that actually working in the industry, but then your faculties and your team will actually tell you to test it out with a project, with the industry that you're actually like working on. And then you test it out and then you figure out whether it worked or not. And I think that's really hands-on. That's also called experiential learning or action-based learning, which is one of the very distinct and a different point for MIT Sloan, which is also one of the strengths of MIT Sloan. So for 40, 50 hours, I was doing this. And the next like 20, 30 hours of my week, I was actually working with some of the companies that I wanted to work with on a kind of like a voluntary basis, and then actually signed up for independent study, which is the projects that you're interested in. And so the faculty will actually give you grades for that. So what happened for me, that was flexibility, which is, hey, I mean, to some extent, I like the classes, but then more than that, I'm interested in what happens after that. So I was very engaged with very industry specific things. To give you a short story, I focused on product-based roles back in India for 4 years, for 3 years in the education sector, and then 1 year in healthcare. And then I focused my efforts in learning about product growth at MIT. And I was not seeing a lot of classes related to that. So mostly I was skipping classes, and I was just like meeting co-founders, product-based people, working with them. And then the faculties were actually like helping me out. And then my classmates and the industry alums, my mentors, and then my entrepreneur in residence at the Trust Center for MIT Entrepreneurship. So they were like, helping me out to learn that. So it's pretty flexible. At the end, it's very caring, and they want you to do well. So it all depends on the dreams that you have. So that's one. Okay, let's move. How was the MBA helpful in your present product management role? For 2 years, I didn't focus on product management roles. So I think out of 400 people, I would say there were 60, 70 people, close to 15, 20% people of my class who were focused on product management. I was not. I was focused on product growth. So what I actually learned that for product management, basically you spend a lot of time shipping products and working with engineers to like fix the bugs. And for me, that was a little boring. I wanted like more speed. So product management, the typical cycle is like at least 1 or 2 weeks, weekly sprint. And to release a major feature, like you have to wait at least a couple of months or 3-4 months. So I was like, hey, I wanted to be excited like every week and learn something new. And you do that in product growth, where you tweak like certain things within the feature. You look into a lot of data across user flows. Then you see what's working, what's not. You tweak things and you do a lot of hacks. And then it's also less of fixing bugs. So I was more interested because this was, for me, that was like really, I would say really like proactive thing where I would be engaged more. So that's what I focused on. And then post-graduation, I did join a company as a product growth manager. And then what happened when I went there, then I actually learned that, hey, there is always a limit of the product growth that you do. If you want to make a massive impact, you'll have to ship new features. You just can't tweak things. And now I'm back to product management roles. So like a few weeks back, I think it's 2 weeks back, I joined this company called Tiger Text, which is a very well-funded company. I'm reporting to a Sloan alum, Jonathan Podemsky, who went to LinkedIn, who worked as a product manager there, and now he's a VP of the product there. I also work with another Sloaney who is a director of product here. There are like another like 3-4 directors that I also work with them. So I think the transition helped. And if you see this entire network that you actually get at Sloan, or per se a good business school, it doesn't just live for just 2 years, it's for your lifetime. So I got my internship back at Sloan, like by a Sloan alum. So I was reporting to him. And then during my job transition, I was reporting to him. And then my mentor, who is a VP engineering of a digital publishing company, who was also entrepreneurial in residence. So he was an MIT alum. He was not a Sloan alum. And then my other mentors, like who is a product manager, who was a former product manager at Kayak and Google. He is a Sloan alum. And then what happens that there are other Sloan alums working in product-based role. So when I actually reach out to them, they're always helpful to give time. So you get this. So it's like what happens that it's a very accelerated thing that you get over time. So whatever you want to do, you have the resources in place. So at the end, you need to work hard. So cool. So let's move to the next question. How is MBA helpful in your present? I answered this. How to get into management consulting after business school in the US? For an Indian student, any relevant contacts of people who have done so? Okay, so it's pretty easy actually. So for Sloan, it was so easy to get into management consulting. So there's a management consulting club, and they train you in terms of a very structured thought process on solving organizational problems. And there is a 200-page sheet, and they actually they will meet you every week, and they'll prepare you for a lot of case studies. And that's what actually it's asked in the consulting companies. Why I'm laughing is actually it was so easy that I think around 180 people from Sloan applied to management consulting. 60 of them actually got in. So which is you just have to apply, and then you just have to work 40, 50 hours, and then ideally you should get in. So not really hard. I would say think on the goal that you want. So management consulting gives you exposure to different industry functions and different industries, and it just really improves your soft skills. And then you learn a lot of writing and I would say PowerPoint skills, which is really good to actually convince your executives. That's a really good and a portable skill to learn. So if you want that, management consulting is a good way to start. It also helps you to break any problem into smaller problems and then think in a very structured way. That's really, really helpful. So if you want that, I think good. I mean, all these big consulting companies like McKinsey, Bain, what else, like BCG, Deloitte, PwC. I mean, they eye to actually hire people from some really good business schools, and they're also pretty flexible because they don't really ask for your academic scores, and you're not authorized. I mean, if you don't want to disclose your academic score, you don't have to. So that happens. What I've seen that in other business schools that are not so well known, then these business schools really become, these consulting companies really become very reserved and very strict in terms of their academic scores and work experience. So you don't have to worry much actually about this. So this is it. Visa clearance. When you actually get admitted to a US business school, you'll get F1 visa status. You'll get on the F1 visa, and then post that you'll get 1 year of your optional practical training program. So you could work, and then in 1 year you'll have to figure out an employer that can file your H1B. So currently, so my present company is actually filing my H1B. So yes, it's a lottery. But what happens, bigger companies, in case if you don't come in H1B post during your work, then bigger companies send you to an international location. But still, it's a lot of issue in the US, and a lot of immigrants face the same. Cool. So moving to the next question. Okay, so guys, in meantime, feel free to type your questions in the Q&A sections. So once I complete this, I'm going to cover this. Okay, cover your questions. Okay. So I hope this is helpful. Prefer MBA in the US or India? Reasoning for choosing either. India, become a great manager. US, become a great leader. So that's a clear distinction there. How important are brand names on one CV, like undergrad school blue chip companies? For MIT Sloan, it doesn't. So what MIT Sloan believes is, look, if you're coming from a great school, great company, great brand names, you don't need MIT Sloan, like MIT for that. Yeah, they're like really good business schools out there that's going to recruit you, because anyways, you're going to do well. For MIT, I think the reasoning is, look, you have tried really hard, you are persistent, you are resilient, you work very hard, and then you're trying to do something to the world. You have failed, but you still have the hunger to prove yourself, and you're just looking for some attention. And once you come to MIT, you'll respect that MIT is kind of pretty kind and caring. to actually like admit you, and then at the end, like you could also like become a great alum and finally build some very interesting product service, or at least help in building that, so that people's life would be improved at the end of the day, and so that the world and the nations could improve. So MIT really cares for that. So which is, they're just looking for people who are really trying hard, but they're just looking for some attention. So that's where like really, really great alums actually come out there. And if you have everything, great academics, great school, great brand name, great roles, not sure if MIT is the place for you. They're looking for probably something else. Okay, so prefer, okay, how to build a good profile or better. The one I have, I think I mentioned that. I think just keep doing what you're doing. But the point is, whatever, make sure that you have a really good impact. Make sure that you learn from the process. Make sure you have a very long-term vision in place. And especially, I would say, something like doing with the country, or like at least improving the world in any way. And then I would say, like, so let me think this. So which is, one is really think on why you are doing that, which is called a sense of purpose. Be clear on that. It shouldn't be like a very short-term thing like a job or a money. It should be like on a very long term. I think, in my opinion, that's great. Like if you think of, look, I mean, if you think of a world which is 7 billion people hungry to like get very good solutions and hungry to get good life, right? So which is, and not like probably even 4 billion people in the world today do not have internet. So that's a huge, huge problem, right? So which is, I would say, like, if you're just trying to improve your community, your state, your country, your nation, or the world in some way, I think that's a really good why to have. How? I think if you're smart in that, in terms of building resources, learning from people, building like relationship with them, learn from them, help them learn, and then once you do that, and then whatever work that you are doing, and if it has a good impact, and then over time you are able to also like amplify or increase your impact over time, I think that's a really good way to like think on that. And I think if you like want to do that at a much higher level, kind of a 10x level, I think it might be a pretty interesting place. I think any business school would be a pretty interesting place. And they will like you for that. And there is another story to that, which is, even if you don't get to a business school, that really does not matter, because your goal was never to get into a business school. Your goal was impact at the end of the day. So don't take business school, in my opinion, as a destination. So take business school as a tool, a place where you could have skills, resources, learning, and a good intense program to get to the destination that you want to reach to. So that will be really useful. Okay, so that's great. So let's move to more questions. I'm academically quite good. Professionally, I'm average. Co-curricular activities wise, I'm average. I would want to know if the elite school like yours, how much weightage do they have to give to co-curricular and profession while deciding for an admit? So it looks like a very similar story that I have. I was academically quite okay. I was professionally doing good. Co-curricular wise, I was really zero, I would say. I would want to know if the elite school like yours. So yes, it's about the overall story that you have. And I think I did mention about a clear product, a clear goal that you have in mind, why you are thinking on that, how you are trying to reach there, how you are like learning from your mistakes or like failures that you're doing, and are you persistent to do that? And then what's the end goal? Like finally, if you come to a school, like what's the thing that you're looking for in the school? So these all of things actually like it matters. More than that, I would also like to iterate that the school looks into a good analytical understanding that you have a great communicative skills. You should be able to work with people operationally, and then you have a clear why. What else? I think these are good points. And then you're like quite innovative when you're trying to like do something. So these things helps a lot. So yes, when is the right time to leave your current job and decide opt for higher studies? When you think you are not learning in your current job. So I would say, like for me, like two things really matters, which is learning and delivering. So I mean, I always like think, when I actually go to a job or like almost on a weekly basis, am I learning? Am I pushing myself? And it also has to do with what Sundar Pichai like recently said when he visited India, which is you should always put yourself in a kind of a uncomfortable environment, which is that's when you learn the most. So it's always like solving those interesting problems that you don't know, and then you just push it. That really matters to me. And then at the end, like once like I do feel that, hey, I'm learning, but also like the people that I'm working with, the organization that I'm working with, am I delivering and I'm actually helping them grow. So at the end, there'll be better product service for more people and more customers. So as long as that is happening, I mean, I think, say in your case, I think if it's happening in your job, there's no need to leave the job. But if it's not happening, have a thought about this. So that's one. Okay, what are the prospects for someone who has completed 10 years of experience in the IT sector in India? It again depends on the goal that you have. So the age to learn, it never stops. Like I would say, it should never stop till the time you die. So it depends. But yes, say if you're looking to get into a business school at 10 years, then probably they would want a younger crowd. So do consider that. Somebody with a less like 3-4 years of experience, especially from India. But yeah, I mean, if you have like a great experience, I'm sure like you could contribute to like better solutions, better products, better services. And at the end, what happens that there are more and more people who would need your skill sets to actually make their like lives really interesting and meaningful. So that's great. Growth ladder in product management in technology and e-commerce space. I think product management is such an interesting skill to learn that you could actually fit anywhere post product management. So what you do is, product manage. So what you do is, look, I mean, from an organization point of view, I think in a way two simple ways. One is building of the softwares or building of solutions, and the second is selling of the softwares. So for building of say softwares, you have engineering team, you have design team, you have QA team, you have UX team in this place who are like contributing to building a software. Now, in terms of selling it, you have sales, you have marketing, you have customer success team. Now, product management, what happens, product managers bring all of these entities together so that you build the right product at the right time for the right people. And that's a good problem to solve. So they own that. So what happens at the end, you end up working cross-functionally with many people. It's like QA, it's like design, it's like engineering, it's like executive team, it's like the product team. You work with the sales team, you work with customer success team, you work with marketing team. So you do everything, at least. So I think the best product manager says they can think very broad on a product, and across different teams, they can go very deep in that to actually help them out. So that's a very unique skill set to learn. And then at the end, like you have to like convince your executives, in this case, like either the VPs or the CXOs. So if you do that, I think it's what happens that you have a broad mindset of thinking about things. You could fit anywhere. So next, when you try to like do anything, either like entrepreneurship or like moving to VC, or like just going back to entrepreneurship or like joining a company, you have a great understanding of that organization. So I mean, this is a great thing that you learn in product management. But also what happens that this job is a role of a janitor. So which is, if the product fails, everybody will come and like probably tell you are the person who failed this product. And then if the product succeeds, then probably it's the team who is going to get the credits. So frankly, I mean, you're not getting credit for anything. It's just that you're doing everything to make sure that the product or service succeeds. So that's something helps. And if you're looking for kind of that thing, which is you're interested by, oh, this is a very interesting product I can actually ship. This could actually improve the lives of people in some way or the other. And that really excites you if you're like interested in, kind of building, deploying, and then learning and improving the product, or to ultimately improve the solutions, the meaningful solutions that people can use. I think that's where you'll be really happy to do this job. But if you're looking for a great title where most employers look for you, or a great salary, I think you would not really like this job here, because it's just a lot of work and a lot of responsibilities for the credits that you'll probably never get. So rethink on why product management that you're looking. In terms of the growth, coming to your question, it's really good, because what happens that once you do this lot of like work, you learn pretty quickly, you rise pretty quickly, and then you could be, what do you say? So you could be very adaptive to switch across departments. And then you have a holistic picture of where the organization is actually going. And I think personally, it also helps you because it makes you more disciplined. So whatever you are trying to do, whatever, whether it's writing an email or like saying something, or like organizing an event, or like doing any meaningful work, or even like talking to your parents or something, you just think in a very disciplined way, which is, look, at the end I have to serve these people. So like it actually helps. So for me, it helps me personally, which is whatever I do, which is, look, it's a product. If I'm sending an email, it's a product. If I am organizing a Google Hangouts on air, it's a product. When I'm working in the organization, it's a product. When I'm interacting with my family or like my friends, it's a product. So it's just, you just become a better individual at the end of the day, and become like better disciplined. So professionally, personally, I think it's a great thing to do. Is an MBA really worth it? Depends on what you're looking. I think I've answered this question. Okay, so let's do how to prepare applications and stand out in the huge crowd, as Indian IT applicants are the highest in number. I think it all depends on like why do you want certain things, how you are doing that, and then where do you want to like go, and have you like done something to prove that yes, you tried hard. So I would not really worried about like Indian IT applicant. I don't think like school like thinks that way. It depends on the story that you have. So I mean, look, there is no easy job. I think as long as you have a very interesting story, you are resilient, you're innovative, you have a great communicative skill, you learn from people, you lead people, you have a good impact to make, and then you have like gone through failures and successes, and then you really want to like move to a really huge impact area. I think that's where like I think Indian IT applicants thing wouldn't come as a concern for a business school. And I think I do think some of the people who actually got admitted to Sloan, like post for the class of 2016-17, I think there's some of them who are from like IT applicants. So frankly, it really does not matter. What do Silicon Valley startups look for in software engineer from India? Okay. So that's a good question. So I would explain a difference between an average engineer and a good engineer is like 1x versus 10x. You'll save 10x their time. So it's like really valuable. And also like if you see artificial intelligence and machine learning are two really interesting areas where it's going to like eat the entire internet. So if you're like doing something related to that, that's great. So I would say again, like, so more than the coding, also like look into how do you know. So one is in terms of the skill sets, which are the different languages do you know, like which are the most popular like languages that's actually helping drive really good products. Like, are you like a 10x engineer in terms of like writing and deploying codes? And then can you like actually, are you not a jerk, which is, are you like very collaborative working with the people? So which is, if you see on a product sense, writing code is just one part of it, right? So you have another part like design sense, you have another part like business sense. So which is like, hey, over time, would that be like, are you able to collaborate with these guys? And what happens that in the eyes of, I think one of the engineers told me that when he writes code, he just thinks himself that he's like a god, because something never existed in the world before, and then as an engineer you're trying to like create something which is like going from 0 to 1. So that's something, if you do it really, really well, I think that would be a good way. Other thing is you'd like to read this book called How to Crack the Coding Interview, which a lot of Silicon Valley companies look for. So I think you'll get a lot of insights there. Okay, next question. How can someone from a non-IT background get in through? How can they post? Okay, okay, right here. Just a second, there's okay, so next question is, how can someone from a non-IIT background get into HBS? I'm sorry, I can't speak on HBS. I have some very interesting friends there. It's a different culture out there. What I can say that it's a little more competitive. Sloan is a little more collaborative. So it depends. Nothing is right or wrong. It depends on which background do you actually prefer, what kind of learning that you actually prefer. HBS is a great school which just prefers case-based learning a lot. Sloan is a school which just prefers experiential-based learning a lot, where you actually do a lot of work with hands-on training. So you have to figure that out. For me personally, what I know that I don't thrive well in a competitive environment. I thrive more well in a collaborative environment. So that just really helps. Some industries are very competitive, like finance or consulting. That's very competitive. But especially in tech, I've seen more collaboration that's happening. So think about which industries, which functions, what do you want to do, which kind of culture will actually help you to be better, do that. So great, respect for both the schools. So the future of energy jobs, renewable in particular, I frankly don't know about this area. So okay, so I don't know, so I don't want to give you a kind of a limited information or something that I'm not really good at. So I would say just research Google. Google is the best solution out there. Okay, so guys, there's some more questions. I'm going to quickly cover that, and then I'll move to the live Q&A. Okay, so I covered admission to the business schools. That's one. I covered product management. Now I'm going to cover entrepreneurship and culture to MIT. Okay, so let's do it. How to overcome your competitors when promoting or advertising your product? I think in a very short, I would say focus on the blue ocean thing. So blue ocean versus red ocean. The best companies that do, they have the monopoly to do that. So there is no competition to Google search. There is ideally no competition to Facebook. There is no competition to Microsoft Office. There is no competition to LinkedIn. So I would say if you're building a solution, make sure that there's nothing out there. That's hard. Many times you'll fail there, but I think most of the interesting products they come through that. So in terms of advertising, I don't know. I'll have to know more information about that. But I would say don't really do something which is already there too much, and you're trying to get a small share of the pie. It's like opening a restaurant, or just starting a new telecom company. It's just too crowded out there, and you'll always fight for small things. Think of the ways which could be pretty interesting few years, few months from now, and then you would see a great advantage that you have in terms of promotion of the product. So in India, mostly services. Cool. Various programs at MIT. So you have management program, you have engineering, you have mathematics, you have physics, you have humanities, you have medical programs. I think they partner with Harvard and Boston, the medical center for that. So do research this. What I would say that when you get admitted to one of the schools in MIT, it's not that school, it's to the university. So MIT has all of these schools that's pretty closely located, which is in few minutes of the walk, at max 10 minutes. So what happens that, and there are a lot of events that happens for this cross-cultural and cross-discipline learning. So mostly, for me, I started coding back in MIT. So I went to computer science school. So I was coding, and then I was loving that. So that really happened. What else? For some of my classmates, they were pretty interested in statistics. So it's really great to be highly analytical. So they went to statistics school. And what happens that there are a lot of schools, there are a lot of classes that actually happens at school, Sloan as well. Then if you're interested in creating very engineering and very interesting products, you'll go to media school, where they would want you to invent something. So if you see, a lot of world innovations actually comes from MIT Media Lab. So Google Glass was actually invented in MIT Media Lab back in 1992, 1994. The concept of Google Maps was actually invented in MIT Media Lab. So if you go to MIT Media Lab across different disciplines, the camera is there, then you have this urban architecture, that's there, you have kindergarten section, and there are probably 17, 20 departments that's there, and they're always pushing EDX, this MITx actually came from there. Then you have this guy, the chief Dave Roy, that's there. So who is the chief media scientist of Twitter? Now he runs a lab there. Then they're neurology department. So what happens? Most of the TED speakers actually, a lot of TED speakers actually come from MIT Media Lab, and I was fortunate that they actually I took some classes from them. In computer science school, Tim Berners-Lee, who actually invented World Wide Web, he actually did that. And so that's something you get access to these people. So it's pretty cross-discipline. Okay, so that's great. So various programs at MIT. So figure that out. What do you want to do? Which programs works best for you? It could be engineering, could be management, could be statistics, could be physics, could be humanities, or whatever. Cool. So how to break into product management if you don't have any prior experience, and is MBA necessary for PM roles? Okay, so I'll answer this. So guys, quick information. I really want to get you guys to get maximum out of the session. So I'm going to extend this for another like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. If you guys have to go somewhere, it's okay. The technical difficulties was from my side, and thanks to Google as well. Yes, so I'm going to answer these questions, and I can keep doing that like every month. But in case if you guys like want to leave early or you have other commitments, feel free to like leave the session. So I'll just like keep going, and I'll make sure that I answer all the questions that I have. Okay. So thank you. So how to break into product management if you don't have any prior experience? So I was just thinking about that. So to become a great product manager, you have to first become a product manager. And to become a product manager, you have to first think about shipping products, like being very excited about like shipping, deploying products. And then before that, you have to like think from and kind of very engineering, design, and the business principles to think on products. And before that, you have to be very inquisitive and curious to have a product mindset. So I think it always starts from that. I think the first step is like be curious about the products, like whatever projects that you use, either a software or a hardware product or a service, just like be very curious, like why it's happening, why this product looks like this, why this feature is like this. Say an example of a mobile app, why the font is this, why the page view is this, why, let me give you this example, like WhatsApp, right? Why the chats are like this, why this is such in a bold font, why there are different media types, which is like text, why images, why videos, why audio messages, why not more media types, right? Then how does this sync, right? And then, oh, okay, and how they're thinking, then how does the pricing of like, WhatsApp will actually work out? And then, oh, what kind of teams do they have? So, and then why the design is actually like this. So, and how users are actually using this. So like you can be very curious and you can start questioning everything that you like look into a product, right? So which is, I can just show you, right? So which is like, say for this product, like this is a cup, and like a product mindset is, oh, why this is shaped this way? Why the height is this way? Why this is colored white? Okay, and then why I'm able to hold this, like, and like in this way, why there is not other way to actually hold this? And then what should be the pricing of this? Okay, how would people actually buy this? Like, and then if I were the product manager for this, like how would I actually improve this? So for the first thing for me is like, I like to like drink like a lot of tea. So that's like a very low volume. So I'll just think of like increasing this volume. The other is, okay, I can only insert like my 2 fingers here. And that's something that's like, it's not really like comfortable to me. So I would like, kind of like a bigger size for this one. White is okay for me, but probably like I like a cute color. It could be like, little like yellowish or like little bluish. Why there is no logo here, like any cartoon or anything? So which is, I would just like to like get some kind of like a logo or like a quote here that will actually help. So these are some of the ways. Then you'd see, here there is kind of a brand which is kind of pretty distracting here. I don't want to like see that. So if you're like pretty focused on the user side, oh, no, this is something I could improve that. I think that's a good way to start. And then the next way is like go technical, like understand the technical challenges of that, understand the design challenges of that, understand the business challenges of that. And then the next is go and work with engineering teams, spend time, go and ship products. Even if you fail, go and do that. And once you do that, then you could just transition to the product side. And then eventually you can become a great product manager. So is MBA necessary for a product roles? No, MBA just mostly gives you one side of the business aspect and very broad understanding of the things. It does help me, but it's not necessary. Okay. How can I prepare ourselves? Okay. Okay, so some startup questions here. For an undergraduate student, aspiring entrepreneur. Okay. So will working in a startup help him learn more about startup? Yes, like practice makes a man perfect, right? So which is whatever you do, it's like, I think there is a book that says, if you practice something for 10,000 hours, you'll actually like become expert in that. So I think that's true. So whatever, if you want to like learn more about the startups, either start a company, start a startup, or work with the startups. Will that experience be helpful for applying business schools? Yes, the answer is yes. It's just because you develop like really broad understanding of the things. You go through a lot of challenges, you solve that, and then you become more mentally matured. If you are getting that in a different job, go and do it. But this startups definitely is a really good experience for applying to business schools. Okay. How is a failed venture evaluated from work experience point of view? Oh, they don't really care about failures. They just care about your learnings. Like, like why you started this, a failed venture, why you started that venture. Okay. How did you lead that? What were the different learnings that you went through? How did you work with people? What was the impact that you had? If you failed, why you failed? After after you failed, what was the learning that you had? And then after the learning, like what steps did you take? For your after your failed venture. So I think all of these answers to the questions matters the most rather than you had a failed venture. And I think in Silicon Valley or like in US, they just celebrate failures. So it's good to say like, hey, no, I started a company and I failed. So that's pretty good actually. So okay, so let's go. Some sample ideas on which I could build a startup. Not sure if this is the section for that. Just look into any meaningful solution that you actually like, or a good problem that you want to solve. How strong should the profile be accepted? Let's see. How was this? It looks like I have another 3-4 questions, and then I should be done with the live. Then I should start the live session. Okay, so how important brand names, visa clearance? Okay, I'm at what are the growth prospects? How to prepare applications? Okay, it looks like I'm done with all the questions here. Cool. So now I'll move to the live Q&A. So thank you guys for staying there. Thank you so much. So just like I have also received one question which I can't answer. That's like how to make great aloo paratha. So I'll have to take another session for that. So there are like some really curious minds like who want like ping me with some interesting questions. So let's start. So there is one person. So Sanjana Srivastava C has mentioned her questions like in a private chat here. Okay, so her question is it possible for an applicant to fund his or her MBA studies from a top business school in the USA completely 100% through scholarship and loans? Interested to take loan from the bank of the business school top. I'm not getting the question. Let me repeat this. Her question is it possible for an applicant to fund his or her MBA studies from a top business school in the US completely 100% through scholarships and loans? Okay. So yes, the answer is yes. So what happens generally, business school, I think they don't give you a lot of scholarship because they expect you to like earn something, and plus they expect you to have some savings, and they also expect that post your MBA experience you are going to like get paid like at the top of the industry. So yes. So if you're from top 5 business school, then you'll get access to funding from these banks. If you want to like fund a part of it, that's always there. It's your decision to take the loan or not from these business schools. Other than that, schools are like really expensive. So you'll have to like think of your finances if you're not going to the top 5 or top 10 schools. Okay, next question is what maximum percent of 2-year MBA fees a scholarship can cover from a non-profit sector? I'm not getting her question. What maximum percent of 2-year MBA fees a scholarship can cover for a non-profit? I don't know, probably it's like 5% to begin with. And then what happens, you also do a lot of QA, like a lot of like TA-ship. So you do like research within your school time, and then that's when they actually also waive your part of the tuition fees. Any scholarship fellowships outside the school from an external source agency, just Google it. There are actually. So I think I remember one of my classmates from Middle East, like he got full scholarship from one of his programs in this country. So look around that. Okay, great. So now let's move to the live Q&A. Sorry, guys. Let me just quickly answer that. Okay, need some water now. And then I have to go for running. Okay, so the first question is utility of a business school from the perspective of entrepreneurship. I'm not sure if you got it. If you mean you want to start a company post business school, one is yes, like you'll be more confident. you'll have better problem solving skills, you'll have more access to resources. But the downside is that you'll have loans. And another downside is if you want to start a company in the US, you'll have to go through a visa problem. So there are a lot of scholarship that actually helps in that, but generally people either prefer to wait for a few years before they start a company, or some people who have a great plunge, they actually start right away. So I remember like some of my classmates, they completely tailored their programs on building their company. So basically they were building their company through the courses, and after 2 years, they had more progress to do. And I think in one case, one classmate from Japan, he actually raised more than $1 million funding while he was still at school. Another of my classmate, bestie from Nigeria, he actually he left a US job and then he started a company back in Nigeria, and he got a runner-up award in TechCrunch London Disrupt, I think a few months back. So that's there. And I think a lot of people actually either started with more MIT folks there, or more local folks, or they start something with the professors there. So it all depends. If you're looking for something, most likely you'll have a lot of resources and like-minded people to actually help you out with that. But having said that, I think you'll be encouraged to start something from bottom up in the academic courses, in the people that you meet. So it's just like, if you start something, if you fail, the people ask you the next question, which is, hey, what's the next thing you're starting? So it's like they have a huge tolerance for failures. And luckily, I get that in my mentors, who support me as well. So yes, the answer is utility of business school, yes, but make sure that this is also an expensive program. So think about that. Can here drop you a mail? Okay, so drop you a mail. I'm going to check that. Okay, just wait for a few minutes. What was your role and in which company you worked before you applied to Sloan? Yes, that's a good question. So I'll answer that. So I did my engineering back in India during my final years of engineering. I started my educational software company, which helped schools in getting better assessment for non-academic performance of students. So I started that in my hometown, Ranchi, and then we also did some aspects in Kolkata. So I ran that for 3 years. I built my team. I had my engineering team, and then obviously my co-founder and I worked on that. So we focused on different aspects of the products, and then we ran it we bootstrapped it for 3 years. That was really a roller coaster ride and a painful journey as well. So there was a lot of stress, anxiety, but a lot of learning at the same time. So I did that for 3 years, and then I joined Apollo Hospitals Group, helping their product to actually expand in one of the states of Bihar. So I did that for close to 10 months to 1 year time. So I had close to 3.5 to 4 years of experience before Sloan, 3 years in education and close to 1 year in healthcare. Okay, so yes. Now there is another question here. How should an undergrad student without prior experience in product management can start a career in product management? I think I answered that a few months back, I think some minutes back. So feel free to go back and actually read that. I think this is answered. Is there any option for financial? Let's do this. Okay, is there any option for financial aid scholarship in the business school of the world? Yes, it is. They actually now at Sloan they have more and more priority for giving scholarship to the students. So for nonprofit, they have Legatum fellowships, MasterCard fellowship. For other they have fellowships from I think McKinsey and some other companies. And then on merit based, school also gives scholarships. So yes, answer is this. So this is what I have answered in terms of undergrad without prior experience in product management. Have a product mindset, have a design, engineering, and a business mindset to begin with. Be curious about the products, learn why products are built certain way, critique it, and think of the ways to improve it. And then I would say the best is spend more time with the engineers. That's really, really valuable. Okay, so let's do this. Has the value of business school declined for a person who wants to work in the tech sector? That's a really, really good question, actually. So yes, Gaurav, this is a question from Gaurav Bang. Yes, so I would say the world is moving in a new direction these days, and so what is happening is software is eating the world. And if you see on a very logical way, why a business person is needed in terms of software, right? So yes, it is declining. But I would say the value of business school in traditional sectors like consulting, manufacturing, healthcare, manufacturing, and so typical traditional industries, that's going to much more. Now in terms of the tech, if you can understand the high level or engineering complexity of the things, like in terms of building softwares, that's really great to have, that you may not get in a business school until unless you are actually spending time with the engineers or engineering school there, or you're curious to learn that. So that helps. But more than that, you have to also develop design understanding and business understanding. So business school helps you to break down problems into very smaller problems, think in a very structured way, think cross-functionally, think work cross-culturally, and then be very analytical in solving problems. I think these skills are really valuable to actually work with the design and engineering teams. So I would say, if you can learn these skills without going to a business school, then the value is not that much. But if you need that, then the value is much. So great question, Gaurav. But if you know machine learning and artificial intelligence, if you can code and if you can build great softwares, you don't need to go to a business school. There are enough companies, organizations looking for your skill, and probably will end up making more money. So, so that was a pretty honest answer from me. What should a software engineer do to make his own profile? Okay, I answered that. How is everyone? Okay, great. So I think I'm done with all the questions. Let me just check my email and see if there are more questions. How should a software engineer do to make his profile more diverse? Certifications? Not sure. For a business school, they don't really care about certification. Think on the products. Go and build and deploy products, learn analytics, talk to customers, improve the product, learn, fail, succeed, work with people, I think, and then have a great communicative skill, try out new ideas, be curious about learning. I think those things, I think you would be able to make your profile more diverse. And then at the end, also think about the community. It's always good to do some great things about our community. So these are all the questions. Lastly, I'm going to check my email and check if there are any more questions that people want to answer me. Okay. Okay, so looks like no question. Let's see why it's hanging there. Okay, I'm going to check my email my other laptop. Okay, what happened? Come on, Google. I answered your questions. Okay. What's happening, Google? Come on. Okay, guys, what's happening here? Okay, Google, first of all, you did a great job in helping me host this session. I know it just requires a lot of that bandwidth and a lot of engineering work to make this happen. So thank you so much. Let me just see before I actually, probably just needs more bandwidth from here. Okay, guys, so sorry. So Google did a great job in hosting the session. So I'd like to thank Google for this. I would like to thank my audience for listening to me and asking a lot of questions. So where is that? Okay, so that's great, and thank you so much. You guys were like really helpful when I was trying to sort out technical difficulties. So thanks. I'm so sorry I took a lot of your time, but I hope this is helpful. But I hope this is helpful for you, and I wish you good luck in terms of serving our community. And I know a lot of you guys are back in India, so keep building very interesting solutions and solutions. And with what I mean is like interesting products and services, and that will like you could actually help us help our nation in improving and like building a great entrepreneurial ecosystem. So I'm quite excited for you folks. So I'll keep doing such kind of sessions like every month, but this is kind of like really personal to me. And yes, in case if you get time, do apply to MIT and keep doing great things for our community. So thank you guys. Great. Jai Hind. So thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. And have a great day today. Stop.